Hi, and welcome to Kin's Corner. I'm Kin, and I am a licensed teacher, school psychologist, and educational administrator. I worked for the New York City Department of Education for 35 years. In this presentation, I will discuss an educational paradigm shift, specifically moving the educational system from a mostly reactive state to a more proactive state. First, let's define what paradigm shift is. Simply put, it is a fundamental change that occurs when the regular way of thinking about or doing something is replaced by a new or different way. Thomas Kuhn, who was an American physicist and philosopher, and he was the one that brought this concept to light in 1962 through his book entitled The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. In this video, we will focus on a paradigm shift toward prevention. Prevention is not a new concept. You recall the phrase, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure," originally coined by Benjamin Franklin. He was correct then in the 1700s, and he is correct even more today. Today, an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. That is in terms of reducing human suffering and saving lives. Like property and gold, the value and use of prevention has gone up. Let's look at one obvious example: the medical field. Over the centuries, medical practitioners treated people with various illnesses and physical conditions. These ranged from broken legs to plagues to the common cold. These medical practitioners, ancient doctors, sought to save lives, but plagues, disease, and natural disasters such as earthquakes, tornadoes, etc., inundated the medical world. Then they sought a way to stop or reduce human suffering and deaths by preventing them in the first place. They developed vaccines to prevent diseases such as the measles, mumps, polio, etc., started preaching healthy diets and exercising, and educated people on the hazards of smoking. This took years, but worked, and countless lives were extended and saved. Now, return to the educational paradigm shift. This needed shift is based on several reasons. The main one is the alarming state of mental wellness in the school systems. According to the CDC, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, and behavioral issues have all increased even before the pandemic. I posted the link below for your reference. When the pandemic happened, these mental and emotional states were exacerbated by tenfold, which often manifested to violent crimes. We saw them in the news, in social media, and in person. Tragically, many occurred in and around school grounds, such as Sandy Hook and Uvalde, Texas. This year alone, in 2023, we saw 19 shootings, including the recent shootings in Tennessee. These were tragic and unnecessary loss of lives, which was the last straw and got me to create this video. I truly believe in the power of education, and it is the key to alleviating this scourge. Our educational systems are antiquated by decades. Its mindset and policies were set over 100 years ago and has changed little since. Most of our educational systems are still reactive in that they wait for something tragic to happen and then, and only then, take action. For instance, when a student lost his life to street violence near the school increased their safety agents, held a memorial, set up GoFundMe accounts, etc. I've seen this time and time again working in the schools for over 3 decades and reading about them in the news. These actions did not address the underlying issue or stop the violence. More significantly, these would not bring back this young life or others. This disturbing trend will continue unless we take action now. We can change the educational systems to become more proactive. We can help reduce future violence and may even prevent loss of lives. To accomplish this, we need to use what already exists, education and training that are inherent in the schools. We can prevent and reduce negative emotions and irrational thinking that are the basis of undesirable behaviors and violence. Strategies such as rational motive education, developed by Dr. Albert Ellis, self-instructional training, developed by Dr. Donald Meichenbaum, and cognitive behavioral techniques by Dr. Alfred Adler, can be taught and practiced in the schools, same as nutrition and exercise that are already being done. The premise of these mental wellness strategies is that changing students' thinking, we change their behaviors. More precisely, we train students to use more logic and challenge irrational thinking, thus engaging their executive functions. Simply put, we get students in the habit of thinking before acting. Of course, if this is implemented, we will not see results immediately, as this is a long-term investment. Remember that the best things in life are not easy to come by and usually takes effort and time. As a trained teacher and experienced school psychologist, I am familiar with human behaviors. One is that people often behave without thinking. Many act on impulses and emotions, which are part of our primal nature, which served ancient man in the beginning. However, in modern times, these are no longer appropriate. Modern man needs to think and consider consequences before acting, which is not fully recognized or formally taught in our present-day society. In mental wellness strategies, we can begin to educate and train young minds to activate their executive functions first before they act. For instance, one simple strategy is that we teach and have students practice to stop, listen, look, and think before they act. By engaging in these steps, they will likely have time to consider consequences prior to the behavior. This in itself may alleviate undesirable behaviors long term and reduce the need for intervention. For the educational system to become more proactive, there needs to be significant policy changes, specialized training, and support. Policy changes such as doing away with compartmentalization and that all staff is responsible for our children. If a staff member doesn't have the expertise, then help the student get someone who can help. This means getting rid of the "not my job" policy and adapting "it takes a village" mentality. We are all in this together. This will help schools build connectivity to students, which are crucial to mental wellness, according to Dr. Deborah Horry of the CDC. Schools should be where students feel safe, nurtured, and protected, and where students feel schools are like their second home. In regards to specialized training, I am referring to new teachers being trained in colleges, universities on mental wellness strategies, such as the ones I outlined as a core requirement and curriculum. These same training can also be implemented in regular staff development, which is already in place and therefore more cost-effective. Our dedicated and wonderful teachers already take on many roles. Unfortunately, our present-day events require that they take on one more, which is the role of counselor. Additionally, we can have our current mental health providers, such as the social workers, school psychologists, and even guidance counselors, go into classrooms and start teaching and training students on proactive strategies. Emanating from the medical field, we can also advertise and sell the idea of prevention to the public, much like the American Cancer Society advertised the dangers of smoking. Posting more videos on prevention like this one is also a start. The more people we reach, the better. And the faster we begin, the more we can accomplish to reduce human suffering and loss of lives. Thank you for watching this presentation. I welcome comments and suggestions. Please be safe out there and take care of one another. See you next time.